Hi guys, my name is Lucy. I'm a tropical astrologer and I am here to teach you about rising signs, also known as your ascendant sign. In this video, we will specifically be talking about the fire rising signs, that is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. But I will be making videos for each element, so make sure you subscribe if you want to learn about your rising sign. So first, let's talk about what are rising signs, what do they mean? And the rising sign is very important because this is the sign that is often more noticeable upon first meeting than the sun sign. The rising sign is the sign that rules our first house in our birth chart. So it really represents the lens that we are perceiving the world and how people are perceiving us when they first meet us. The planet that rules your rising sign is very important because this is considered your chart ruler. So we'll get into what each sign's chart ruler is as well. And so the rising sign is really the tools that we can use. These are the things that come naturally to us. So this is what we can use to improve our lives. Like, it's good to know what you already have going on, what comes naturally to you, so you can build off this. So fire rising signs generally are very passionate about life. They tend to be action-oriented people. And when you meet a fire rising sign, a lot of times they're very friendly and they're open and they're fun. The planets that fall in the first house will also influence this, so as well as the rest of the chart. So keep that in mind. But generally, fire rising signs are really fun. They're very passionate. They love life. And they are natural leaders. They tend to be very good at taking the lead, not being afraid to make decisions and to be direct when they need to. Let's first talk about Aries rising. So Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, and the ruler of Aries is Mars. So if you are an Aries rising, you are ruled by Mars. So look at the sign that your Mars is in. For example, if you are an Aries rising and you have a Gemini Mars, that means Gemini Mars is your chart ruler. So if you're an Aries rising, Aries rising tends to be the most direct and the most impulsive, I would say, of the fire rising signs because it's the first sign of the zodiac. So you really need to go out there and experience life. You need to take risks. You need to take chances. You don't like to feel boxed in any way. You like to be able to be free. You tend to walk quickly. You tend to maybe sometimes rush around. That's just your nature. And being active, using your body is really important for you. It's important for you to, get exercise, and it helps you to really be on the move sometimes and not just be stationary and stable and not stable, but being stable for you actually means being able to go out there and explore. If you feel boxed in and controlled, that makes you feel unstable. You really need to go out there and you need to explore life. And then the other thing about Aries rising is you tend to be very honest, maybe even sometimes blunt. This is just your nature, and you do not like when others are, lying to you. If you find out somebody's lying to you, it's really hard for you to move on from this. Because you're so straightforward. It's better to just get to the point in your opinion, which is it's very true. It's something I really admire about Aries rising is the ability to say how you feel directly. So regarding appearance, so any planets in your first house will also influence this, but Aries rising, being ruled by Mars, you sometimes have a natural blush to your face, like a little red or pink undertone. The other thing is you could have scars or marks or blemishes and things on your forehead. That's another signature thing that happens with Aries risings. Generally, not always, but generally Aries risings are somewhat athletic, or they just enjoy moving their bodies, at least in some way. Maybe you're not like some big person that's into sports, but you like to move your body. You like to go on walks. It's good for you to move that energy around. And Aries risings are often you want to be the first to do something. You want to achieve something great. You're not afraid to take a risk because you know that it can mean really great things for you. So it's important for you to follow what you're passionate about, really, because you know, if you're not passionate about something, it's just not gonna work out. And you can really, when you do put your mind to something and you really do believe in something, you're able to reach that goal because you put all of yourself into it, and you really make a great leader as an Aries rising. Now let's talk about Leo rising. So if you are a Leo rising, you are ruled by the sun. So look at the sign that your sun is in as a very, you know, this is a very dominant sign in your chart. This is going to be something you're connected with. I will say that Leo risings, you know how I mentioned earlier that your rising sign often comes more naturally than your sun sign? If you're a Leo rising, you're ruled by your sun. So you might actually have a very strong connection to your sun sign. So being a Leo rising, you're very radiant. You are just like the sun, people are drawn to you. You tend to be a bit more fun and creative maybe than an Aries rising. An Aries rising is super fun, but more in terms of like, this is, you know, what I'm gonna do, they're very focused on, you know, their goals. And as a Leo rising, you're focused on your goals, but you're also really focused on making sure everybody's having fun. You're very creative and very romantic. So people find Leo risings charming usually. They feel this natural draw to them, just like how you feel a draw to the sun. In terms of looks, Leo risings sometimes have very beautiful hair, sometimes long, as well as cat-like features. So if you know somebody who has kind of like a cat eye look to them, it could be a Leo rising. The other thing is sometimes the men in particular, they might have broader shoulders, and like Drake, I think he's a Leo rising. He's kind of like, he has broad shoulders, he's like big up in this area. So that is sometimes true of Leo risings. It's really important for you to be able to express your creativity, express your creative side, express what it is you love to do. So Leo risings are sometimes skilled artists, musicians, you know, designers, anything where you're able to express your creative side. You tend to be good at this. Performers and things like that. This is something that you should explore if you are a Leo rising, and you tend to have, even if you don't feel confident, Leo rising, you appear confident to other people. So this is what makes you a great leader as well. Now let's discuss Sagittarius rising. So Sagittarius rising, you are ruled by Jupiter. And I think this is a fun planet to be ruled by. Jupiter is about abundance. It's about new perspectives, different cultures, expanding your mind. And I often say that Sagittarius is kind of like, out of all the fire signs, it is the most similar to an air sign, just in terms of collecting information. So as a Sagittarius rising, you are very interested in learning and expanding your mind, and you tend to look at the big picture, the big perspective on things, which makes you more optimistic than some because you can see that end goal. And one thing that gets in your way isn't gonna stop you because you know you're keeping in mind that end goal. So it's super important for you, Sagittarius rising, to go out there and meet new people, travel to new places and see new perspectives. That's what's important. When you are able to see other people's perspective, other people's way of life, this helps you develop your own way of life, your own way of thinking. And this is really what drives you. Sagittarius risings tend to like to discuss, you know, big picture ideas like spirituality, religion, philosophy. So they love to really just continue to learn and to grow in this way. In Sagittarius rising, you sometimes have very nice long legs. That's sometimes a signature of the appearance of a Sagittarius rising. So Sagittarius, if you know the symbol, it is like the half man, half horse. So that's why sometimes the strong lower body is a noticeable trait in Sagittarius rising. I'd also say Sagittarius rising, you tend to have very pretty charming smile. Sagittarius rising might even be, well, I would say Leo as well. Leo and Sagittarius rising, you tend to be very friendly and very open. So is Aries rising, but I guess Aries rising can be sometimes a little bit more intimidating, just that Mars energy. But you're all very approachable. But Sagittarius rising, you are very open-minded. That's the word. You're very accepting and open-minded. So you're open to meeting new types of people. You love this. And being ruled by Jupiter, the other thing I'll say is, since Jupiter is about abundance, you can be extravagant. So sometimes you might go a little overboard with things, which can be fun, but I guess it's also something to look out for. So yeah, I'm going to be making videos for all the rising signs, so subscribe to learn about yours, and for a full chart reading, check out my website. It's lunarxlucy.com.